Is the crown jewel dead on arrival? Also, some news that shook the WWE universe. This week on Weekly Wrestling Cast.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's me, Danny Marvelous,
And Nick the Iceman.
and this is your Weekly Wrestling Cast. So let's start like we do every weekend with some news. So first thing is Maria Kanellis, Ivory, Molly Holly, Medusa, Michelle McCool, and Kelly Kelly are confirmed to be at the Battle Royale at Evolution, which just kind of fills that card. Basically gets them closer to that 50-woman promise. Right? But then had some big news about Crown Jewel this week. First off, it was reported originally that John Cena and Daniel Bryan were refusing to go to this pay-per-view if it was held in Saudi Arabia. WWE had a meeting and they were going to decide where they're going to go through with it, and they are. However, John Cena is confirmed to not be going. So they're going to be doing something supposedly this week on Raw and SmackDown to replace him, especially on Raw since he was a Raw superstar. But he's not going, period. No word on Daniel Bryan right now, but definitely no John Cena.
Which shakes up the World Cup.
Exactly. And honestly, I would have had John Cena as a favorite to win that. So it's a big one. Samoa Joe is injured. Don't know what the injury is. They're not commenting on it, but he'll miss some time, which is why he hasn't been on TV for a little while. And then Bobby Lashley has a shoulder injury, but is supposedly performing through it. So
hopefully it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like his storyline right now, so I hope it keeps going. And then finally, Alexa Bliss is injured with a concussion and will be unable to perform at Evolution, therefore changing the match that she was in to Trish and Lita versus Alicia Fox and Mickie James.
Which they kind of set up on this week's Raw.
Yeah, they did, just in case. But they didn't fully announce it until afterwards. But yeah. So then, speaking of Raw, let's go into it. And
do we have to?
Yeah. It was a rough start. Roman Reigns comes out, gets the usual reaction, comes out and he gets on the mic and he talks about how he owes everybody an apology because he wanted to be that workhorse. He wanted to be the fighting champion, but unfortunately he can't anymore.
And then he just drops kayfabe at this point.
My name is Joe, and I've been living with leukemia for 11 years, and unfortunately is back, and he has to relinquish the title. And honestly, this was beyond heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Wow. This was hard to watch. And I'm glad that he had that the ending where he was a bit more optimistic. This isn't a retirement speech, but it's still a hard situation,
Especially with the Shield brothers coming out there towards the end.
I was tearing up myself, to be honest.
Then they released that video of the backstage with all of the other superstars.
Yeah. And I like that they had even people that were feuding with him were putting him over. They were praising him because he is a leader in that locker room. It's very clear that most of the people that work at WWE really look up to Roman, and so
best wishes to you, man.
Of course, and we want him to come back as soon as possible. We want him to, as he says, whoop leukemia's ass. But yeah, so
then after that we got a match between Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley.
Exactly, and this is another reason though why I hope Bobby Lashley is okay, because this was really the beginning of this feud.
Yeah, they kind of set it up the week prior. After Finn Balor and Jinder Mahal had a match, Bobby Lashley kind of interrupts the celebration and comes out and gets in Finn Balor's face.
But yeah,
I enjoyed the match.
Oh, it was pretty good actually. despite classic Lio Rush annoying the crap out of me. But yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought they were going to feed Balor to Bobby Lashley, but
they ended up putting him over.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty good. And like I said, I hope that Bobby Lashley is okay because I really want more of this going forward.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're putting Finn Balor back into an actual feud instead of just having him promote the Mixed Match Challenge.
Exactly. All right, but then we moved on to Sasha Banks and Ruby Riott. And I mean, are you excited for... So let's talk about the match first.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't fantastic, but it was a good first match back for Sasha Banks, I feel like.
Yeah. And, like, these women are great in the ring. Like, there's no doubt about that. They're very good, but I don't know, like, these guys have been feuding for, at this point, like, 4 months.
Yeah, it's been a weird feud because it started with Ronda Rousey and the Bellas.
Yeah.
And then... Well, it started with Ronda Rousey and Natalya.
Yeah, and then
the Bellas showed up, and kind of Natalya got swapped out for the Bellas, and then they brought Natalya back into it.
Yeah, but even before that, when they were teasing the Sasha Banks Bayley's turn, they were mainly being put up against the Riot Squad.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, they don't really cut promos on each other that often, at least not big promos. The heels don't, like, build heat, really. Like, they cheat to win, but that's what every heel does, for the most part. There's just not really a lot going on in this feud.
It's one of those things where, like last week, or a couple weeks ago at this point, I had said if you had gotten rid of all of the out-of-ring stuff with Asuka and Naomi and the Iconics, I would have liked it more.
Exactly.
It's
almost the opposite. But yeah, and so anyway, Ruby Riott gets a win after a distraction by the Riot Squad, who are fighting on the outside with Natalya and Bayley. Sasha comes to their aid, whoops on Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, but then Ruby Riott gets the upper hand, hits her with the Riot Kick. 1, 2, 3. And then at the end, we get the announcement that these 6 women are going to be going off against each other at Evolution. Are you excited for this at all?
I mean, I'm excited because I feel like it'll be entertaining. I don't think it's the best match on the card by any means.
I don't think so either.
And I feel like they are kind of using it to fill a gap. Like, I feel like there could be a better match there.
Yeah. And granted, I like that Bayley and Sasha and Natalya have something else to do rather than just throwing them in the Battle Royale, but I'm just very...
I think it'd be interesting if they did like a tornado tag or something, because we haven't really seen a lot of those in the recent years.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but then moving on, we had the DX promo.
Which was cool. It was neat actually seeing the DX intro.
Yeah, it was cool. It was also a little weird. Like, they talked about, like, Halloween being in the movies and, like, nostalgia. And I was like, I don't know, this isn't hitting me. These guys are great, but I don't know what it was about it. And then they get interrupted. Not even by, like, a live video. Just a pre-recorded video comes on of The Undertaker and Kane filling graves. Like, so you're going to bury these guys, but why would you they're not in the holes yet. Like, why are you filling these holes, Undertaker and Kane? It was just very weird for me. But, like, I guess I'm still looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... upset about the match at all, but I do feel like they could have done a better job with this promo. I agree with you.
Yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt the feud at all. It's just this promo was a little weird.
And then after that, we got a Paul Heyman promo, which is pretty good.
It really was. And, of course, Paul Heyman is actually very close with Roman's family. And he puts Roman over quite a bit, and I thought that was really nice.
I also enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I also just miss seeing Paul Heyman on TV.
Oh, of course. I wish he was on almost every week. I mean, tell me that every show couldn't be improved by having Paul Heyman on it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So then Braun Strowman comes out to interrupt.
Yeah, because he starts putting over Brock, so Braun is like, nope.
He comes out to tell him that he also puts Roman over a little and says that Roman will be the first in line for the title match against him when he wins the title from Crown Jewel.
Exactly.
And is yelling about how Brock Lesnar's going to get these hands and turns to leave and turns into a hellacious Claymore kick.
Yeah. This was set up earlier. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre were talking backstage, and Drew McIntyre says he's going monster hunting. And he just nails him with that Claymore kick. And he goes down. And McIntyre is great. He really is. He knocks out Braun and then goes backstage, has an interview about what just happened. He just rips into the roster being afraid of this guy. I'm not afraid of him, though, and stuff like that.
I'm liking that we're getting more development with Drew McIntyre because he's had his moments, but it's mainly just been the Dolph Ziggler show with Drew McIntyre as his muscle, basically.
Yeah.
So it's neat seeing him start to get development, and they're putting him over.
Yeah, he's the focus, yeah. But yeah, so a lot of places are actually referring to, and we'll talk about what Braun does later, but a lot of people are referring to this Braun being put as a face again.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because he is coming off of that separation from the Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler team. And, I mean, they kind of have painted Brock Lesnar as a heel this entire time.
Yeah, and the crowd does not like Brock Lesnar at all right now. So.
And so, with the change to the match just being a one-on-one match at Crown Jewel, they're kind of, I feel like, sliding Braun Strowman into the face of the heel-face relationship in this match.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, don't get me wrong, I think Braun can thrive as a heel, but I like him more as a babyface. So,
well, as much as a face as he can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got those heely tendencies, but yeah, I think he's a great face.
So then after that, we have another match between Elias and Apollo Crews.
Yeah, I actually really like that the announcers are getting annoyed that Elias never gets to play a song.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, literally, as soon as Apollo Crews' music hits, Renee's like, no, I wanted to hear the song. Everybody's getting all upset about it. But yeah, this also officially over commentary, they reveal that Titus Worldwide is done. Like, that team is not together anymore, which makes sense. Titus O'Neil is doing a bunch of charity stuff because he's awesome. But yeah.
Elias ends up getting the win, which is just going to keep this feud going because Apollo won last time.
Well, I'd actually argue that it would have, if not what happens next.
I'm trying to remember what happens at the end.
All right, so. Well, first off, that was a great match. Apollo Crews is freaking dope in the ring. He's super athletic and all that. But yeah. But then, after the match, we come back from commercial, and Elias is like, oh, I won. Now I'm going to play you all my song.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to play you guys my song now. And Baron Corbin comes out. And he's like, no, I'm your boss. Your time is done. It's time for you to go inside. And Elias is like, no, I'm going to keep going. And so they argue for a little bit. Eventually, Corbin threatens him. And Elias walks out into the back. And Corbin starts talking to the crowd. And Elias sneaks up behind him. Whacks him with his guitar. And I love whenever guitars are used. I loved it when I saw clips of Jeff Jarrett, and he used to do that all the time.
And you were saying about the promo with Braun and Paul Heyman almost being like a face turn for Braun Strowman.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this was almost a face turn for Elias.
Yeah. It's going to be... I think it is 100% a face turn. But if he comes out next week and insults the crowd, then... it's probably still a heel. He's just fighting with Baron Corbin. But I think Elias could be a great face in this company. And all right.
And then after that, it might have been between the match and the promo. They had a World Cup promo that I thought was really cool. It was Kurt Angle, and he basically went through and did a small portfolio on each of the people in the World Cup. And I thought it was a really neat highlight of all of them together, just kind of showing the amount of like titles and achievements that everybody in this World Cup has gotten under their belts.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a really neat way to showcase the talent.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! It was great, and you know, Kurt Angle is amazing on the mic, and he can talk about anything, and I'm always interested. So
then after the Elias, Apollo, Baron Corbin stuff, we had the Ronda Rousey, Nikki Bella contract signing.
Okay, yeah. And, you know, Ronda comes out, she gets in the ring, and then the Bellas come out, and they're like, we're not getting in the ring with you.
They actually both slide out.
Oh, that's right, they came out first, yeah, so they slide out as soon as Ronda comes in.
She gets in the ring, and they just nope. They're like, we're out, we out.
We out. And so Nikki's like, Ronda, you came here for a fight. I came here for a contract signing.
And she goes, I'm not going to beat you up now because I want to make sure I get to beat you up on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I give you my word that I won't start anything. Just get in here and sign the papers.
Yeah, which was, like, obviously big old babyface. That's what she's going to do. If she's not here for a fight, why she got her fighting gloves on? She's just wearing fighting gloves. And I'm like, are you sure?
She kept her word, though.
Yeah,
which I was honestly surprised about.
Yeah, especially, like, you know, Nikki goes in on her. Like,
talking about her past, her promises to her mother, the fact that she didn't win any medals in the Olympics, she left undefeated in the...
she left defeated.
She left defeated.
And that she said, did you promise your mom you wouldn't get super hurt in UFC? Because you did. And it's like...
She signs the contract and just smacks the shit out of her.
Ooh, so good.
Like, so much so that you can see how red the side of her face was after.
Exactly.
Like,
it was really good, though.
And I thought Ronda was going to break
exactly.
there.
I thought so, too. And, of course, but she doesn't. Which I thought was... It makes sense with her character, especially being a babyface, keeping her promise. But it was a weird way to end this promo, this contract signing.
It was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, exactly.
She just signed, picked her belt up, gave her a little salute, and then just walked out.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay. Like, I guess that's it.
It was fine.
I don't hate it, but it was just a little anticlimactic.
I was still entertained, but yeah, most of the time nowadays when we see contract signings on the show, somebody's going through a table. Like,
yeah. Okay, but yeah. So then we had a fatal four-way with Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Tamina, and Ember Moon.
You mean an Ember Moon squash match?
I mean, it basically was that, and don't get me started. Okay, so we're going to talk about it because I want to. Just imagine if they gave these four competitors longer than 5 minutes for a fatal four-way match.
It was really short.
Like, it was so slow, too. And then, like, there's literally a point where Dana Brooke tries to pin Ember Moon, and Tamina and Nia Jax just stand and watch until Ember Moon kicks out. I'm like, stop the pin. Like, it just, I really hated this.
I feel like it could have been better.
And don't get me wrong, I think all of these women are very talented, but especially like Ember Moon and Nia Jax are really great. But this match is bad. Wasting my time. And I get that they're trying to hype the Battle Royale, but you don't do it like this. You don't do it like this.
Well, after that, we had Titus O'Neil come out and do his promo against cancer, is what I have it down as in my notes.
For the Susan G. Coleman Foundation. And
I mean, this guy... Let's talk about Titus O'Neil for a minute.
Okay, I love to talk about Titus O'Neil.
This guy is freaking amazing.
I love him. I love him.
He's such a cool dude.
He really is. And like even like when you even like go back to like when he was on season 2 of NXT when it was a reality show, Like, you can tell even then, like, this dude is just nice. He is just a good person.
And he's such a charismatic character also. Like, he has these, I think, 5 women out that were all breast cancer survivors.
Yeah, it was 4, 5, or 6.
And they all got title belts. And he put each of them over the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
And was buddying with them and...
getting the crowd to go wild for more.
And you could see how excited he was for them. One of the women was also recently pregnant, and so he was like, and she's having a kid, and like they hyped everybody.
And one of them was just recently married, so he said her new name is. It was really nice, just all around nice. And you know, on a night like that night, it felt even bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because, you know, they do stuff like this all the time, and I'm always happy about that, the fact that they do it, because I like that the WWE is so charity conscious. But, you know, tonight it really was impactful as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and we had talked before about how charismatic Titus O'Neil is, and I think it would be amazing, since he is doing all of this other charity work, and he doesn't really... I don't want to say he doesn't have time to wrestle, because he probably could if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could if he had to.
I feel like it would be awesome to see him as a manager.
He should. I think he should be, because, you know, like, don't get me wrong, he's not bad in the ring by any means, but he's not a top guy by any means.
But yeah, you attach him to, like, a Finn Balor or, like, a baby face and just have him be the manager for the face.
Oh, yeah.
It would be so cool.
And then Titus Worldwide could be a brand rather than just a tag team.
Yeah, like...
That doesn't exist anymore.
Throw Titus back at Apollo and just have Titus O'Neil be Apollo's manager.
That'd be cool. Like, just imagine him hyping up Apollo. Yeah, like, I'd love to see that.
So then after that, we had another promo backstage where Lita and Trish Stratus were talking about the promo they did the week previous.
Yeah, they're getting interviewed and stuff like that.
And then we hear... this god-awful screech off-screen, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I see Alicia Fox sprinting into frame and just collides with the two of them.
And I don't know if she's wearing heels or just naturally tall, but dang, she's like a giant compared to all these women.
Yeah, she's either very tall or very proficient in high heels.
Yeah, exactly. Or a combination of both, because... she is huge.
Yeah, and so her and Mickie James storm this promo and start fighting them.
They beat them down.
And they get the upper hand and kind of shove them, and then they go to, like, make it their own promo.
Yeah, they start talking to the interviewer and, like, we're going to do the interview now. But then Trish and Lita just come right back at them.
Yep, and they start to get the upper hand. And one of my favorite lines from this whole promo is while Trish and Lita are on the upswing on the back half of this promo, you hear one of the two of them, I think it was Lita, say, "That's how we do it in the Attitude Era." And it just...
so good!
I love that line.
So good. Honestly, like, I'm not super hyped for this match, but I'd love to see... I'm excited to see Trish and Lita back in the ring again.
It was such a solid line, and yeah. It's just... I'm more excited about seeing Trish and Lita wrestle
than anything else. Like, it's really exciting that we're gonna legitimately see two of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time back in the ring again.
And then after that, we had a very emotional main event.
Yeah. Shield versus Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre for the Raw Tag Team Championship.
This match was insane.
It really was.
They've always put on good matches, these four guys. But this one, if not the best, was real close.
Really close. And granted, like, it wasn't the cleanest match of all time, but it didn't, like, any little mistakes didn't ruin the match at all.
If anything, it added to the match, because they were talking about going into the match where Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose's heads were at.
Yeah, exactly.
And how they'd be able to perform. So if anything, the few mess-ups on their side of it almost added to the emotional feel of the match.
Yeah, and there was this one spot in the match that I really loved when Drew McIntyre is stuck in the Tree of Woe, and he just ends up body throwing Seth Rollins across the ring, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I made a note of that also, because that moment wasn't the standout moment, for the match, that we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a feat of strength.
It really was.
That not many can do.
It's like, wow, this guy is legit. He is legit. But yeah, so anyway, the match continues on. Eventually we get some heel shenanigans, but
they end up giving it to the Shield.
Yes, after Braun Strowman runs in, after McIntyre attacked him. Of course, he chases McIntyre out of the ring, through the crowd, beats him up, and eventually goes backstage.
Which then just makes it a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah, and Dolph Ziggler can't handle that. He gets pinned, and there are new Raw Tag Team Championships.
And you can tell that Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins were a little choked up.
Oh yeah, it was a very emotional moment. And then here comes the heel turn.
And it happened, and you guys know from listening, I've been rooting for this.
We've been expecting it for a long time.
I've been rooting for this pretty much since we started the Weekly Wrestling Cast.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember messaging you after the fact, and I was like, well, I got what I wanted, but at what cost?
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe they did it. I can't. Like, obviously they had to, like, get the okay by Roman and stuff like that. But, wow, they did the heel turn on this night.
I was so happy when the Shield won because I was thinking to myself, these two guys had a shitty day.
Yeah.
Not the shittiest out of the Shield, obviously.
Fair.
But they won this. This is their silver lining for now. They've got each other in the title, and then they flip it. And the episode ends with all three of them isolated and alone.
Yeah. And it was really surprising. Like, you hear the announcers saying, no, not tonight. You hear Michael Cole say that. You had heard Renee talking just not that long ago about her family with Roman's family, and
they had said that stuff right as the heel turn happened, but pretty much as soon as it left the ring, it was dead. Quiet. There was no sound other than the two of them,
and there were some crowd sounds, but they were like, the crowd was not liking this, and understandably so. Like, because, so here's the thing, we've all been expecting the heel turn for a long time, and I'd argue that even kind of like a Becky Lynch heel turn, where everybody was so excited that it was happening that they would have cheered it normally. The fact that they chose to do it this night is one of the best heel turns ever, as far as I'm concerned, because, like, how do you take a crowd that's going to cheer a heel turn normally and make them not? You do it on this night. I don't think they're geniuses. We give them a lot of crap, but they legitimately found a way for us not to cheer the Dean Ambrose heel turn.
Well, and I think that this was probably going to go through anyways.
Oh yeah,
regardless.
They were planning on it, yeah.
And think about how different that main event of Raw would have been without the beginning of Raw.
Exactly.
It would have gotten cheered.
Oh, it would have.
People would have been over the moon.
People would have loved it. And then it happened tonight, though, after what happened at the beginning of the show.
And everybody was just so stunned.
I couldn't believe they did it. I was literally slack jaw staring.
It's one of those things that this is going to be one of the heel turns that people remember.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This was great.
And I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I am as well. And but yeah, so that was Raw. What did you give me an overall thoughts on Raw this week?
Why are there feels in my wrestling?
Yeah, it was, don't get me wrong, very sad, and obviously we hope the best for them going forward. But honestly, this Raw was great.
It was a very good episode, and it's stuff like this, which is very unfortunate, And like we said at the top of the show, all of our best wishes go out to Roman
and his family. Yeah,
and we're rooting for you. And it's stuff like this that makes you go, "Oh shit, this is real."
Yeah, exactly. These aren't just characters like all the time. Like a lot of times it's easy to get like caught up in the story.
Because of how over dramatic they make it.
Exactly, and it's there's real people behind that and all that. But yeah, so it was just a really good episode. But let's move on to SmackDown then.
So SmackDown opens.
And we get the New Day. They come out and they're mad. They're pissed. They lost their tag team titles.
They feel robbed.
Because of the Big Show.
Which I thought was funny. Corey Graves, the whole time they were out here in the ring talking about the injustice that they were faced. They were going back and forth, and his constant stance was, well, they evened up the numbers. Yep. How is this unfair?
Yeah.
it was 3v3 now. How is this unfair?
And, like, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, the Big Show interfering is why the match went the way it went, but it's not exactly wrong.
Yeah.
Like, Kofi legitimately did interfere in the tag team match. Granted, he did it to stop cheating, which, all kudos there. But technically, you're not even allowed to touch the other wrestlers that are technically in the match.
Yeah.
And so, and so they decide, they call him out. They're like, Kofi's like, I don't care if it's Cesaro, Sheamus, or the Big Show.
I'm fighting somebody.
I'm fighting somebody tonight.
We're doing it. We're throwing down.
Yep, and then out comes the Bar, out comes Big Show.
Which I like their entrance, by the
way. Yeah, that they held the Fusion Ha.
And then when Big Show walks out in the middle. So, then they get to the ring, and they do, heel shenanigans.
Yeah, they start teasing, it's going to be Cesaro.
Sheamus takes his kilt and jacket off and is in the ring, like, rotating his shoulder, and then he looks to the ref, and the ref gets ready to start, and then Cesaro raises his hand, and then they switch out, and Cesaro takes off his jacket and starts hyping himself up. They get to go, and they go to get ready to start, and then, we'll raise the hand again, and then Big Show.
Big Show walks in. He gets in the ring with Kofi.
And I love that the ref looks at Kofi, and you see the ref mouth, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Like, he looks at him, and he's like, "We haven't started yet. You can back out."
Yeah, honestly, that's fair, too, because I wouldn't want to fight Big Show.
And he goes for it.
Yeah, exactly, and he gets his butt handed to him.
Yeah.
They go in on him.
Poor Kofi.
Poor Kofi, indeed. And eventually Big Show just gets that upper hand, and he just choke slam.
So much so that the New Day enters the ring to help out.
And of course, causing the DQ. But yeah, then, so all six of these guys start fighting, but the Bar gets that upper hand.
And it just turns into a brawl at that point.
Yeah, and then, they get just one little advantage, and then they exploit it, and it ends up in just Big Show is just beating down each of the members of the New Day, even chokeslamming Big E and Xavier. I was like, wow.
Then after that, we had a match that actually surprised me a little bit.
All right.
It was a rematch with the Usos and AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Which I figured this time they were like, oh, okay. Usos won the first time because shitty tag team.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they specifically said that they've been working well together, and as you see throughout the match, they actually do some combo moves.
Yeah, exactly.
And they actually suicide dive in tandem, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're working pretty good as a team.
They're going to get this one.
Yeah, but then AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm, almost nails Daniel Bryan. Then one of the Usos gets in between them, and AJ goes to hit him with the Pele kick. But that one hits Daniel Bryan.
I love when he goes to do the phenomenal forearm and lands right in front of Daniel Bryan. He holds a finger up to him. He's like, oh, hey.
Watch it.
Stop it.
But yeah, then the Usos take advantage of this accidental contact, quote unquote, and I believe it was Jimmy gets on the top turnbuckle and does a frog splash to get the win, but he does
Roman Reigns' forearm pump.
Yeah, and I just thought it was a really nice tribute to Roman, and those guys grew up together.
Yeah, they're cousins, right?
Yeah, they are actual cousins. So yeah, which is kind of hard sometimes with kayfabe and the Samoans. They're not always as related as everyone makes them seem to be, but
But I thought this was a good match because it puts the Usos over, which I don't mind.
Yeah,
I like the Usos.
Love it.
And it also shows just how strong the Usos are.
Mm-hmm.
That they've been doing it long enough and are so in tandem that one little misstep in another team's cooperation with each other, and they just, because of how synergistic they are with each other, just get the win.
Yeah, and honestly, the Usos are just one of those teams that they came in as a team, and they've stayed a team for their whole career, and I'm all down for that. But yeah, so then we had a video package of an altercation at the WWE Performance Center.
Did you find this a little cringy?
A little bit, yes. So Charlotte is talking to the NXT trainees, and she's like, "Follow your dreams" and all that,
Which that part I thought was fine.
Yeah, like whatever. And then Becky comes in, it's like, just starts laying into Charlotte, starts tearing apart everything that she was talking about, and Charlotte's like, not here, don't do this here. And eventually they get in a shoving match. They start going at each other. The Performance Center rookies pull them apart, and yeah, it was a little cringy.
So here's the thing, I like Becky Lynch. She has been and probably will, unless things go south here, remain one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, and I feel the same way.
Her heel angle is kind of cringy.
Yeah, it started out really strong, and this was the last couple times have been a little eh.
Like, I don't mind the whole I'm the champ, screw everybody else.
Oh yeah,
no friends, because friends hold you back. But I feel like this whole talking in the third person thing is skeeving me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much.
The champ this, the champ that, do this for the champ.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay, this is a 5-minute promo, and you've said champ like 20 times.
Yeah. But something I do want to praise this for is being something different.
Yeah.
How many times we always see, build to big feuds like this. They do a backstage thing, then they do a one-on-one match, or they do someone's in a match and then his opponent is on commentary. Just these are the things that we expect day in, day out. It's the usual thing, and I like that they did something different. And that's all. It may not have been perfect, but I like that they're doing different stuff.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I don't mind Becky Lynch as a heel. I really like it because it's a different flavor of heel.
Exactly.
Especially in the women's division, because a lot of the women heels lately have basically just been the same thing.
Yeah.
Which, they're individually entertaining, but, like, the way they go about being a heel is basically the same.
If you think about it too much, you see just way too many similarities.
So that's why I liked Becky Lynch, and still kind of do, despite the few problems I have with...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
...the angle, but... yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, but then we get Rusev and Aiden English.
This has gone downhill fast for me.
Same.
It started, like, when they first started hinting at the heel turn, I was chewing at the bit. Yeah. I was so excited, and I was just thinking to myself, this is the next step in this story. And it's great, and Aiden is killing it as a heel.
Yeah.
And he's being cocky, and he's got this tape, and then the tape flopped, and I was like, that was unfortunate.
It was unfortunate, but at least I could still see where the story was going.
It was still heely, yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely something a heel would do. Mm-hmm. It's just to cut and paste this tape and be like, this is a naughty tape.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's whatever. This match was awful.
It was garbage.
It was so bad.
Actual garbage. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think any of us really expect Aiden to go toe-to-toe with Rusev. At least without cheating. Because, like, that's just what heels do. He's not as good a wrestler as Rusev is, but...
They made him incompetent.
So incompetent. Like...
Watching him in the tag team matches with Rusev, and then watching him versus Rusev, it's like two different people.
It really is. And, honestly, the Aiden from the tag matches is an Aiden that you could be like, wow, this guy could be a solid mid-card. And whereas this Aiden that we're getting is like
a glorified jobber, basically.
Yeah, should he even be employed? It's like...
Well, and it upset me because he didn't even do the cheat to win.
Nope.
And now that he's lost, this feud's done, right? Mm-hmm. Like, where do you go from here?
I mean, they could still, like, have him trying to do, but then, I mean, unless they do something really new, like, it's just going to be stale.
Like, they could have him run in on another match. Like, Rusev could have, like, a match that leads to a title shot, and he spoils it or something. And they pick up another match. But
they already did that with the World Cup, and I'm over it. I'm so over it.
If they do keep this going, it's just going to be repetitive at this point.
Exactly. They would have to do something that I can't even think of.
Which is unfortunate, because if they would have given Aiden the win here, they could have got 2, maybe even 3 more matches out of this.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
maybe even a pay-per-view match, depending on how much they escalated it.
Yeah, like, let's say Aiden wins, then next week he jumps Rusev backstage with a weapon. Like...
Yeah.
Like, you could take that somewhere, but hell, you could do a no disqualification match at that point.
That would be dope.
That would have been so cool. Instead, we get this. An episode of SmackDown, and Aiden just gets the crap kicked out of him.
This is a squash match to end a feud.
Yep.
So, after that, we have... Rey Mysterio, he got booked on Miz TV.
On Miz TV, yes. But yeah, this was great, actually.
I really enjoyed it. I like Rey Mysterio, and a lot of people forget, or at least have forgotten recently, because it's been so long since he's wrestled, that he's just a real funny guy. Like, yeah. He is very laid back and comical. And
like he doesn't shy away from the so there's like kind of 2 types of different wrestling stories. There's serious ones and there's more comedy ones. And Ray thrives in both.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so he's out on Miz TV, and Miz starts talking smack about, you've been gone for so long, but I've been here.
Yeah. And
then Rey Mysterio fires back with the, oh, I thought this was Truth TV. That's what I was told it was signed for. But if you want to start stuff, let's go. And squares up, drops the mic, stands up. Miz responds with the, no one wants to see that. And the crowd
goes wild. They're like, no, we want it. And so they end up getting in a match together.
Which I enjoyed.
Exactly. Mysterio is, like, I always forget how ripped that dude is, because he's smaller, but yeah, I was watching this match, I was like, dang, this dude is ripped, like, holy crap.
And I think in the 2, or has it been 3 at this point, matches he's had since, it's been 2, right?
2, just the Nakamura and now this one.
The 2 matches he's been in so far, I have not seen a speck of ring rust on this guy.
No, he's stayed in the indies, and so he's sharp. It's just, you forget how good he really is when you don't see him every time, all the time.
I love his matches. They're so entertaining.
Yeah. For a second during this match, I was like, oh my gosh, is Miz going for the mask? Because he does that, like, nose grip.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, is he... Oh, okay, no. Which I was glad they didn't go that way, because we've got that storyline is going on in other places right now. But
and he just came back.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need it to just immediately go there.
Yeah, but, it'd almost be like typecasting at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed this.
Yep, and
it'd probably be my favorite part of this night, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think that was probably my favorite part of the episode as well. After that, we had, I think it was supposed to be a promo.
Okay.
And then they just turned into like every woman.
Oh
on
yeah. It was
SmackDown.
supposed to be this tag match between Naomi and Asuka versus Absolution. Then the Iconics come out. They start doing their iconic bit. They get interrupted by Lana.
So then we had this bit where.
All right, I'm just gonna
turn your.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Good.
So then we had this bit that was supposed to be like a tag team match.
Yeah, between Naomi and Asuka and Absolution.
And then they get interrupted by Iconics, and then
Lana comes out and she does her thing, and then out comes, Lana literally says one line, and then out comes Carmella. And, they're in the hometown.
She gets her moonwalk. She gets like 3 lines out and then gets interrupted.
Yeah. But I want to talk about what Carmella says because she's being a face right now, which she's not a main face. She's really just doing it for the Mixed Match Challenge. But for right now, she's a face. And so she's in Newark. She's quote-unquote hometown girl. Crowd goes wild for her. And so she says the line, what does everybody in Newark want? And Corey Graves goes, bail money? I was dying, man. It was so funny. Corey Graves is always good, but he has some great one-liners that he just shoots.
Without missing a beat.
Yeah, without just bail money. Wow. Of course, she says, dance break. Everybody starts dancing. Eventually, everybody starts fighting.
And then, like 3/4 of the female superstars are all just clubbing it out.
Yeah. So, also, this was supposed to be, hyping this Battle Royale, right?
Sure.
But, yeah. So, they all get in the ring and start beating on each other. But then, it comes down to only a couple people are still in the ring, so they're, quote-unquote out. But literally, I think I saw one person actually go over the ropes.
Yeah, most of them just got thrown out of the ring.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then
somebody got knocked down and they just kind of kicked them out of the ring.
Exactly. And then Asuka eventually gets the upper hand and comes back in. She knocks that I think it was Dana, I don't know.
Somebody.
It was a very forgettable moment. She knocks the final woman out, and she stands quote-unquote victorious, even though this wasn't a match, this wasn't anything. But yeah, that's literally all this was, and it's kind of meh. Very disappointed in this, but
I would have preferred just a regular match.
Honestly, I probably would have preferred to see Naomi and Asuka versus Absolution, but yeah. So afterwards,
money.
Shane O'Mac comes out, and I would not want to be Shane O'Mac in this situation.
Oh, this was so great. So he gets to the ring and he's hyping the World Cup, right? And he's
I wouldn't want that job. At this time, that was still a hot button topic. They hadn't decided exactly what they were going to do. And, he was anytime he would say something about World Cup, people were not into it. And so eventually they get so not into it that they start something else.
Who's going to be the best in the world? And they say that. He's like, somebody's got to be the best in the world. And the entire arena starts chanting, CM Punk, CM Punk. And they won't stop.
Yeah.
And so he just kind of leans into the mic and goes, yeah, he's not on the roster.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think he's in the tournament. Which, as far as ways to handle that was the right way. You can't really do anything. The crowd decides to start chanting CM Punk. What are you gonna do? Just lean into it. Just be like, yeah, I don't think he's into it.
And then he finishes his whole promo for it. And that leads into the main event.
Which was disappointing, first off. But then it was actually Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. And it wasn't a bad match.
For the 5th time.
Yeah. But it was like you said, the 5th time we've done this. And I get that they're hyping the World Cup, but this is the go-home show for Evolution. This is the go-home show. Why do you have Shane O'Mac coming out here instead of Paige, first off? Why? And final up, like, why isn't there some kind of women's match?
I feel like if we would have swapped the last two matches, like you have the Miz Rey Mysterio fight. After Miz TV, you have Shane O'Mac come out and make some Shane O'Mac style comment about Miz TV in that match, and then hype the Jeff Hardy Randy Orton match immediately after, and then if you even need to have Shane O'Mac on the show, then you have you have the tag team match with Naomi and Asuka versus
and you
Absolution.
drag it out.
You drag it out a little bit. And then a little bit into the match, you have, like, Iconics run out and start beating up Naomi and Asuka. And then you have a face or two run out.
Yeah.
And you basically just have the locker room storm out and have the main event end with this brawl of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And then that hypes that Battle Royale, that hypes Evolution.
You could probably have made the match more interesting.
Exactly.
Instead of it just being all of them slamming into each other, you could have had the start of a match and then have more moments throughout instead of it just being a whole bunch of people just running into each other.
Exactly. And yeah, this was just very disappointing that this was the end. Granted, the end match wasn't bad. I don't want to say that because, you know, these guys are great. That swanton onto the ground floor looked painful. That looked like it hurt.
We got the ear again.
The ear again, which you put the screwdriver through it, man. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that it's gross, but it's nothing now. Like, you jumped the shark.
You used a toolbox. I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't really go up from that unless you just rip his ear off.
Yeah, he had that great slam, though, when he just grabbed onto Jeff Hardy's hair and just slammed him onto the ground. That was cool. Of course, it ends in an RKO. Randy Orton wins. Go home show. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
I feel like they could have, if they wanted to hype the World Cup, they could have taken the 4 stars that all 4 had matches in this episode. They were all 4 involved in matches in this episode. And shuffle them up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you could say that they're saving it for the actual World Cup. But you could have thrown, like, Miz and Randy Orton and then Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio. You could have done any combination of the 4 of those. That wasn't a match we'd already seen.
Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of disappointing. And honestly, this is, like, the first time this year, I think, that I enjoyed Raw more than I enjoyed SmackDown.
I agree with you there.
And that's really disappointing because I love SmackDown.
I mean, hell, you could have done a fatal 4-way with the 4 of them, and that would have been dope.
Yeah, it would have been great.
That could have been the main event of SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I would have been okay with that.
It would have at least given me more entertainment. So, yeah.
But, alright.
It was what it was. But yeah, so then we move on to our mixed match challenge, which we just we tend to cover this pretty quickly because it doesn't really hold a lot of weight. The only reason we're really covering it is because they're gonna have their finale at TLC this year. And you know, I like more wrestling, but yeah. So anyway, first match was Team Pause versus B&B. Faces versus faces. So, you know, this was kind of weird because it was so civil that you get used to seeing. But yeah, then Bobby Roode and Finn Balor trade coats. So Bobby Roode is wearing the Finn Balor leather jacket, and Finn Balor is wearing Bobby Roode's robe, and he does the glorious thing. They all fight, and it's a fine match. B&B ends up winning. But then final match for this one was Day One Glow versus Asuka. And this was great because right at the beginning, you know, Naomi and Asuka are in a tag team. So, you know, they get in the ring. They're like, oh, we're going up against each other. So they hug. And Miz is like, what are you doing? There's no hugging in wrestling. And they just lean into this no hug storyline. And eventually, Jimmy Uso gets Miz back in the ring, and he gets him into a bear hug. So he's actually wrestling him, but it's just like they finally got him to hug and all that stuff. It was funny. But yeah, anyway, very end of the match, Miz pushes Asuka into... so Naomi was doing a suicide dive over the top rope, and he pushes Asuka into line of fire so that he doesn't get hit. But then the reason why is because he sees an opportunity in the ring. He hits Jimmy Uso with the skull crushing finale 1, 2, 3. But we saw some backstage stuff where Asuka was like, "What the heck, man?" But yeah, so that was Mixed Match Challenge. Then we moved on to NXT UK, which is a whole mess of stuff. But first match was Ligero versus Mike Hitchman. And Ligero is a luchador. He is a luchador. But they're kind of trying to make it seem like he's from the UK, even though he's from Mexico. Which is really cringy. But good match. Ligero hits a tornado DDT and gets the win. Then we had Dakota Kai versus Killer Kelly, and this was, Battle of the Strikers. Both of these were in the Mae Young Classic just a year apart. And this match was really good. And then Kai ends up getting the win on that. And here was one of my favorite parts of this show, though. Zach Gibson has a promo, and he is booed relentlessly. Like, this dude is screaming into the mic, kind of like a Kevin Owens when he insulted Seattle. It was loud, and he was like, "Turn up my mic so you can hear me better." And even then, it was like, "Nope, you can't hear anything about this." But yeah, so he basically just makes his case for I should have another NXT Championship shot. He insults Noam Dar, who got a title shot last week. He's like, "What has Noam Dar ever done? I won the tournament, and then despite being having only a day's rest, had to go up against Pete Dunne and still brought him to his limit. So I should get a chance because a fresh Zach Gibson should be able to beat a fresh Pete Dunne," is what his argument was. And so anyway, Noam Dar interrupts him because he was insulting him, and they start facing off a little bit, but then general manager comes out, and he's just like, "You two, my office, now." And which was like kind of neat, like whatever. But a couple other matches which were very, I hated these. Ashton Smith had a squash match, which I found very boring. And then there was a Tyler Bate versus Wolfgang, and these guys are both really good, but this match was slow. I was like, come on, guys, give me something here. But yeah, so not a great match, but overall, NXT UK they're still introducing everybody and all that, so. But yeah, now we get to our Wednesday shows, which I guess technically NXT UK is part of that, but the classics that we usually cover are 205 Live first.
So 205 Live started with Lince Dorado versus Mike Kanellis.
Yes, and this started out, I was like, I like these guys, but whatever. But then turned into a great match.
It was a really good match. I really like Lince Dorado, and I didn't really know a whole lot about Mike Kanellis going into this match.
Mm-hmm.
But he's strong.
Yeah, he is. And like, at first I was like, I wasn't super into this, but like, there came this point, I don't even remember when it was, but I was just like, this match is great.
Yeah, there was a turning point in the match where you can tell that the intensity got cranked up.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Kanellis ends up winning, which I'm not really surprised. He just came back.
It's his debut, yeah.
Just came back to putting him over. Then we got a very short promo, which I'll be honest, I don't really remember because it led into the main event, which was insane.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of these promos just setting up matches for later. They announced a number one contenders match between Tony Nese and Mustafa Ali later. They announced that, but the main thing is the final match was Mustafa Ali versus Hideo Itami.
And they went into this match, the intros started, and I was like, wait, I don't feel like it's been that long. And I checked the time, and it was like barely over halfway. This match was a long
They gave him like 25 minutes to just go.
And it didn't feel like it.
It didn't. It was so good.
Match didn't really drag at all. It was high intensity like the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And the last time these two fought, they had a really good match. But this time they had a great match. This match was so amazing. And there's so many spots that I wrote down. I was like, that face first into the apron.
Oh,
when
that was such
Hideo
a
knocks
solid impact.
I was like, ooh, that looks like it hurt. And then they did all this weird stuff with the steel steps and the table. And, like, by the end of it, these guys are covered in welts. Like, both their bodies are just, like, these massive red marks across their bodies.
Yeah, and it ends with Mustafa setting a table up, and I'm like, okay, he's going through the table.
Oh, yeah, so he sets up this table, puts Hideo Itami on it, and I'm like, he goes to the top rope.
Which takes a while.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's rolling out of it. He's going to do that 054 through the table, and then Hideo's going to win.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He took too long on the climb up to the top rope. Yeah,
exactly.
Gave Hideo enough time to recover. He's going to roll out at the last minute. And he didn't.
No, he did not. He took that 054 through a table, and holy crap, that move was incredible.
And that was probably one of the cleanest table breaks I've ever seen.
It really was.
Nothing like went flying off in a direction. The two pieces of the table stayed where they were. Just straight through to the ground. 1, 2, 3. Mustafa Ali got it.
Ooh, and wow, this was good.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for the best match of the week this week.
And honestly, like, 205 Live burns it down every week now.
This is the second, maybe third week in a row that the main event of 205 Live has just been insane.
It really has. This show is awesome. I can't recommend it enough.
So then after that, we got the show I was most anticipating this week.
NXT.
Which ended last week with the return
of Aleister Black.
So we open up NXT with Adam Cole versus EC3.
Yeah, the Undisputed Era is back together. They get a little promo going, and EC3's like, no, I'm not going to deal with your crap. I'm going to come out there and prove you all wrong.
I don't care that there's 4 of you. I'm the top 1%. Let's throw down.
Exactly. I was so excited for this.
And he does pretty good.
Yeah, and this match is great. What do you expect from Adam Cole and EC3? These guys are two of the best wrestlers right now. So
I would tend to agree with you there.
They're so good, and EC3 gets the win.
Yeah, I was surprised, especially with the fact that you can tell through commentary that they're going to jump him at some point.
And they try, and he's able to get out of it. And
yeah, the way they keep throwing it to commentary, and they're saying he's doing surprisingly well considering that there's the full force of
the Undisputed Era.
They're at 100% now, and it's like, well, yeah, he's gonna get jumped at one point.
Yeah, exactly. But he gets that win, and he starts celebrating. He rolls out.
Then he gets jumped.
Yep, and then boom, he gets
a solid kick to the face. So solid, in fact, that you don't even see the guy leave the ground.
Yeah.
He turns and he is off the ground, flying into frame.
Yep.
And just plants his boot in the side of EC3.
So good.
And then they proceed to just squash him.
Oh, yeah. They just beat the ever-living crap out of this dude.
They focus his leg. They get a chair at one point.
Yeah. At the very end, Bobby Fish grabs a chair and tries to injure EC3.
Which, like I said, I'm still kind of new to NXT. Newer.
Yeah.
So I didn't see any of Bobby Fish before he was out. Is like the chair his thing?
No, but I guess that's what they're going with right now.
Because both times he's been back, he's used the chair to just destroy somebody.
Yeah, that's just what he's doing. But yeah, I really like this.
So then after that, we had a women's match.
Yes, we had Aaliyah versus Mia Yim, who Mia Yim is making her NXT debut. She was a part of the Mae Young Classic this year, and so
which I thought was kind of funny because commentary was like she was on the Mae Young Classic last week and she was doing so well that they brought her to NXT, and it was just like, I get that there's kayfabe, but it's kind of universally known that the Mae Young Classic was pre-taped.
Yeah, we all know that, and so yeah, it was okay, and this match was pretty good, honestly.
I like Mia Yim a lot.
I do too, and I honestly like Aaliyah a lot too. But they weren't gonna give it to Aaliyah. It's Mia Yim's debut match. You got to give it to the new thing.
So then after that, we got what was basically a squash match.
Yeah,
I had never heard of either of these two people before.
Yeah,
Again,
as you're newer to
relatively
NXT,
new.
yeah.
It was Cassius Ohno versus Justin Xavier.
Yeah, Justin Xavier's just some jobber, if we're being honest.
And literally during this match, I pulled out my phone, I opened up Spotify, and I added Cassius Ohno's theme to my wrestling themes playlist.
Because it's really good.
It's such a good opening. It's so infectious, and it gets you pumped.
It really does. And this match was actually pretty good for a squash match. I like that Ohno's style is way more aggressive now. It just adds more to what he's doing with his character.
Did it not used to be?
No, he was used to be like, he's a babyface kind of guy, just kind of normal. But now he's been like, oh, you're not going to push me. Well, you want me to be the quote unquote gatekeeper to NXT. Well, then I'll be the gatekeeper, and nobody's getting past me. And so,
gotcha.
I really like the way his character is evolving right now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match, and I really like him as well. He's a big dude.
He is big, yeah,
and that doesn't stop him from moving. He was all over the ring.
Exactly. He was great.
So that was a good match. And then we get William Regal's announcement about
the NXT Championship.
The NXT Championship.
So, he starts out and immediately gets interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa.
Who, fair enough, he comes out clutching his belt close to his chest. Makes sense, he's wanting to be here. It's about his title.
Yeah, it's about his title. He wants to be there for the announcement.
He gets out and then gets in the ring. William Regal gets maybe a sentence. And then we hear the Velveteen Dreams theme kick in.
Yep. And the Dream is like, if you're gonna say anybody is going for that title, it's gotta be the Dream.
Because I'm the Velveteen Dream and I deserve a shot.
Yeah, exactly. But
and then we hear another intro kick in.
It's Lars Sullivan, and
who actually comes in and talks on the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
Which surprised me a little.
Oh yeah.
Because the way they've kind of shown his character while I've been watching is basically just, I'm this big dude, I walk in the ring, I throw people around for 5 minutes, I walk out.
Exactly.
I wasn't expecting him to cut a promo.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he starts off and then gets interrupted by Nikki Cross,
who comes frantically running into the ring.
Yep, he's coming. And then we cut to outside, and Aleister Black is tearing through security guards.
He's on a rampage.
He's just going.
Camera's tracking him all the way back.
Yep.
Some guy opens the door into
the Black Mass.
And poor guy.
He's just down, out.
Just instantly drops.
Mm-hmm.
Makes his way into the ring, fuming. Gets all up in William Regal's face. Grabs him by the sides of his coat.
Yep.
And is just screaming, "Where is he?" into his face.
Yep, and then he turns around and boom, super kick.
And he drops, and we see legs. Pans up, we see a hooded sweatshirt zipped up, and then the face comes into view, and it's no one other than
Johnny Gargano. Johnny freaking Wrestling is the one that attacked Aleister Black.
Cut to black.
Holy crap!
That's how the episode ends.
Holy crap! This was cool.
Oh, I was speechless.
Yeah, and so honestly, we've had a couple of days. There's been internet reactions to this. Some people weren't so happy with this, but honestly, I get their arguments, but this was cool.
Well, and it makes some of the things make sense from earlier in this whole thing, where Johnny Wrestling is him losing.
Yeah.
Kind of, not being in the right mindset with that attack that had happened.
Yep, originally was going to be a triple threat match, but he thinks that he can win if it's a one-on-one, so he attacks Aleister Black. And wow.
He goes into his seclusion for a little bit. Oh, man.
This was cool. And,
talk about a heel turn.
Really. Out of nowhere. And honestly, it's another thing. I'm teased, and I want to see the next episode. Now.
Yeah, NXT has done a very good job over the past month of getting you with the cliffhangers. And not in an upsetting way. In an addicted way, where you're like, I need to see the next episode of this.
Exactly. But yeah, so That was NXT, and wow, it was good. But we got our final show of the week, which was the Mae Young Classic. And this is the final episode of the Mae Young Classic for this year. And semifinals started with Meiko Satomura versus Toni Storm. And I actually didn't know this. These two had actually fought before. Toni Storm did some stuff in Japan for a little bit. And she and Meiko Satomura fought, and apparently it ended in a draw previously. So, they hyped this match, and it was good. Just constant back and forth. These two women are amazing in the ring. And Toni Storm, they both hit their finishers on each other. They both kick out. And eventually Toni Storm gets that second finisher on her. And 1, 2, 3, Toni Storm is in the finals. And, I get why they did this. And I really love it. And it was nice for the crowd to be chanting, thank you, Meiko, for being here, for letting us see this and stuff like that. And it was really something. And then we get to Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley,
which was the match I had my eye on.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, Rhea, the package before the match, they're using Rhea's using the Tegan Nox injury for heel heat, which I was surprised by, but I really liked, because it just adds so much heat to her character. And so these two get in the ring, and both these two are absolutely amazing in the ring. And there's this one move that Rhea Ripley does that she's got like a hold on one of her Io's arms, and then she's got like her fingers like in her like side and stuff like that, and it looks painful. It's supposed to be like they talk about it on commentary. It's supposed to be her digging her fingers in between her ribs, and it's like it looks painful. And the whole match, Rhea Ripley is focusing on her ribs, but Io Shirai gets a little bit of momentum, keeps building.
And unfortunately for me,
for Nick, unfortunately, because of my choice, Io Shirai gets the win. She's going to the finals. My 5-point pick is still intact.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong,
I'm rooting for you, Io, but...
But you want her to lose so you can get a chance at my title.
Which I guess, in a way, brings us to our next bit.
Well, did you want to do that next or at the end?
Doesn't matter to me.
All right, well, let's do it at the end then.
All right, so we'll do our pre-pay-per-view show after our question.
Yeah. So first, let's do our match of the week. Give me your match of the week.
Oh, man, this is hard.
It is hard. There's a couple really good ones.
I feel like just because it was a fantastic match and was also so emotionally charged, I got to give it to the main event of Raw.
Fair.
The tag team title match between Dolph and Drew and The Shield was just so good.
It really was. And we criticized the Raw tag team division quite a bit, but this is another situation where on this show we are talking about the Raw Tag Team Championship and it being one of the best storylines or one of the best matches. And I think that's something that says something.
I mean, I've never minded the storylines with the tag team champions. Mm-hmm. I just wish they would do a little more showcasing of the rest of the talent.
Exactly. But yeah, so mine was Mustafa Ali, Hideo Itami, Falls Count Anywhere match. That
was my second choice.
It's honestly, I'm the same place with you. It was either the Raw Tag Team Championship or this match because they were both incredible. But yeah, so now give me so we're going to do our best and worst superstars of the week. So now I'm going to go with my best first. I chose Elias. Not only does he get that win over Apollo Crews, he then turns face, hits Baron Corbin with his guitar, immediately starting this great feud with Baron Corbin that I'm already excited for. And it just started, and the crowd is going nuts for him. Like, I had to pick Elias.
Honestly, that's my choice also that I had.
That's a very good choice. I like that you agree with me.
He's going to be getting a lot more momentum than he already has.
Exactly.
It's going to be great to start seeing him in the ring again, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like his promos where he's playing the guitar and he's doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think he's pretty good in the ring too.
He honestly is, and I think as a face, he's going to get more opportunities for that. So
I agree.
Give me your worst of the week. Who had the worst week?
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yes, it is.
I feel like collectively the Shield, but specifically Roman Reigns.
Okay, well, I think that's fair, but that I think that was still a moment of hope and stuff like that. But I see where you're coming from. I really do. Mine, I actually thought you were gonna say mine as was Aiden English.
Oh yeah,
because
from a position standpoint and like matches, definitely Aiden
it's definitely Aiden. And for anybody that didn't hear the last episode, Aiden English was also my pick last week for the worst superstar of the week. So he's having a rough go of it right now. But yeah, so then we get to our question of the week, and this question is. Since there's a World Cup going on for the Crown Jewel and stuff, and of course there's no women there, but I want to hype that Evolution pay-per-view. We're each gonna pick 4 women that are on the WWE roster, can be from anywhere, and we're gonna pitch your 4 female superstars for the World Cup.
All right, I got this.
I've
been thinking about this a lot. All right, so my 4 are all crowd favorites. We got the first pick, Kairi Sane.
Great.
Second pick, Ember Moon.
Awesome.
Third pick, my girl Bayley.
Awesome.
Fourth pick is Carmella.
I actually really like that pick.
And I hope if we ever did do this, it'd be heel Carmella, because heel Carmella is great.
Oh, she's way better, than face Carmella. Which not that face Carmella is bad. It's just I really enjoy her as a heel, and she really grew because when she got the Money in the Bank, she cashed in. Everybody was like, but she was really good in the ring now. So
yeah, I very much enjoy her, and I feel like all 4 of those people are like larger than life and would be very entertaining to see.
All right, fair.
Fight for the World Cup.
Fair. All right, my 4, Asuka.
Fair.
Because she's just probably one of the best in the world. Sasha Banks, probably one of the most recognizable female talents in the wrestling world right now, probably. I go with Becky Lynch. It's my 4th. It's my 3rd. And finally, I threw an underdog in there. Taynara Conti, who was in the Mae Young Classic this year. And she signed on to WWE as well. And she's this Brazilian joint manipulation, judo, black belt, crazy, awesome fighter.
And neither of us had duplicates. So there's our 8.
Yep.
Get on it, WWE.
Yeah, please give us those because we would really like that.
It's so insane.
But yeah, so now we get to our pay-per-view picks, which, as you all know, I am the defending champion now. As I claimed the title after the Super Showdown pay-per-view.
And I haven't stopped hearing about it.
He sure hasn't. But now he finally gets his rematch, Evolution. And as some of you might not know, our scoring system, simple. Certain picks have certain points value. Most points wins. There's a Hail Mary. It's worth 7 points.
And it basically is just the likelihood, the way you assign your points is how likely you think the match is going to go.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to pick the person you think is the most easily is going to win as your number 1, as your 5-point pick. So speaking of my 5-point pick, I've already announced it on last episode, technically 2 episodes ago, but we lost that footage. But anyway, my 5-point pick is Io Shirai to win the Mae Young Classic. And so I just really believe in it. But Nick, give me your 5-point pick.
Well, my 5-point pick is the Trish and Alita match versus Alicia Fox and Mickie James, because I thought it was going to be a pretty close match originally, but with Alexa Bliss being injured, them slotting out Alicia Fox, I feel like this is basically going to be a glorified squash match.
And I think that's actually a pretty good choice, because I would have immediately gone the other way if Alexa was still in it. But now that she's not, I think that Trish and Lita have a very good chance of winning this. All right, but yeah, now give me your 4-point pick.
My 4-point pick is the Riot Squad versus Natalya and the Boston Hug connection.
All right.
I think that Natalya, Sasha, and Bayley are going to win because it's Sasha Banks' first big pay-per-view. Well, like since...
Yeah. I get you. I get what you mean.
It's her first big pay-per-view since being back.
From injury. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I also feel like that they want this group of three to be the three that feud with the Riot Squad.
Yeah.
Because they've made several additions and subtractions to the group of three fighting against the Riot Squad.
I get you.
And I feel like this is a solid three. And I feel like all six of them are roughly the same skill level. And also the same popularity. So, like, they're not trying to put anybody over necessarily. They might try to put Sasha Banks over a little because she just is coming off of injury.
Yeah.
But they're not trying to do what they're doing with Ronda when Ronda was fighting them with the Bellas. And I feel like it's going to be a good match, but in the end, I think they're going to give it to Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya.
All right. My 4-point pick is Kairi Sane retaining the NXT Women's Championship. I honestly I can't see them taking it off her right now.
I agree with you, actually.
Oh, really? I wonder which point pick that will be. But yeah, so then my third 3-point pick, I'm going to say first because it's your 4-point pick. Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya. And I agree with you. I think they're just going to give this to those women who are amazing in the match. Give me your 3-point
My
pick.
3-point pick is a bit controversial.
Okay.
Especially those of you who have heard my praise for one Becky Lynch.
Okay.
I think Charlotte's going to win.
You really do.
That is my number 3 pick. I've been thinking about it a lot, and more often than not, they've had Becky come out on top in the squabbles they've done, or like they had the backstage brawl during the photo shoot where she just pushed her over.
Yeah.
They've had Charlotte coming off the handle, like spearing her on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
But really, it's kind of felt more like Becky has kind of been holding the dominant position in this feud.
Yeah.
And I feel like this would be a good chance for her to win the title back, trigger the rematch clause, and then keep the feud going.
That's good.
Maybe once Becky loses the title, she kind of has a relapse a little to how she used to be, or at least Charlotte tries to get through to her a little more.
All right.
But I feel like that's how that is going to go.
All right.
My number 2 pick.
Give me your 2-point pick.
It's actually your number 4 pick.
Oh, really?
I feel like Kairi Sane is going to retain her title.
All right. Kairi Sane retains the NXT Champion.
For the same reasons you listed off.
All right, fair. My 2-point pick is Ronda Rousey. Now, I think this is a little bit riskier pick, but honestly, I didn't know who else to pick because there's so much risk with all these matches. So I think Ronda is a dominant position. I think having her win at the first ever women's pay-per-view is something WWE would want to do. So I picked Ronda Rousey. Granted, they could always do some twin cheats with the Bella Twins, but I think Ronda gets the win here.
And your number 1 point.
My 1-point pick is your 3-point pick, actually. I was actually very surprised. You chose Charlotte Flair, and I was like, he'll never not pick Becky Lynch. But he did. And so
It hurts my soul a little.
it does. I agree with you. I think they want to keep the feud going, and I think they could put that on Charlotte Flair.
So this is really interesting because most of our picks are the same. They're just in different order.
Yeah, which is another reason why I think this system works so well.
I have a weird one for my number 1 point.
All right, give me your 1-point pick.
I have a weird one for my 1-point pick.
All right, give me your 1-point pick.
It is Asuka winning the Royal Rumble via heel turn.
Huh. So you have her win okay, you could have chosen that for our Hail Mary.
Oh, I got something for the Hail Mary.
All right.
Don't you worry.
All right, that's fair. Okay,
I'm playing it a little risky this time. I'm risking it for the biscuit. I have literally nothing to lose. And everything to gain.
All right.
So I'm going to try to play a little spicy.
Okay. Give me your Hail Mary.
My Hail Mary is a callback to the early 2000s. My Hail Mary is an NXT invasion.
Oh, like they did in 2010 with the Nexus and stuff like that.
That is my Hail Mary, because we've crunched a little bit of numbers, and on the large poster of Evolution, there are 41 female superstars.
Yeah, it's not the 50 superstars that they claimed that they were going to.
And that's been Stephanie McMahon's thing. That's been her soapbox. Like, 50 wrestlers, 50 female superstars. So, I have a theory that the last 9 are all going to be from NXT. And during the Royal Rumble, maybe afterwards, maybe after Asuka wins or whoever wins, I just have Asuka as my pick, you see 9 women flank the ring, and they all just slide in and start beating up the winner of the Royal of the Battle Royale. And that kind of being the hook to a new storyline.
All right, and I'll go a step further. I will give you that Hail Mary if at any point they do that.
Okay,
not just the Battle Royale. At any point there's a NXT takeover, you will get that Hail Mary. I think that's fair. Now, you took a big risk because we decided earlier that you didn't have to. That we could pick a winner of the Battle Royale as our Hail Mary, which is worth 7 points.
Yeah.
So you chose not to do that, and I think that's going to be your undoing.
It could be.
Because my Hail Mary is Asuka winning the Battle Royale. So, just to be clear, if Asuka wins that, you get 1 point, and I get 7. So, good luck, my friend.
I told you, Danny Marvelous. I'm playing a little risky this time.
All right, well, I will be happy to take my title home with me.
I got nothing left to lose. I'm going the old Jeff Hardy risk-reward strat.
What a strategy it is. But yeah, so those are our picks for Evolution. We just went over all of the shows for this week.
We got Evolution coming up this weekend, and honestly, I think we've probably hyped it as much as the WWE Universe has.
Which is saying something.
But I personally am very excited for this.
This is one of the pay-per-views I've been looking forward to the most, and I'm really excited for it.
And this is a small disclaimer. We'll get into it a little bit more next episode. With Crown Jewel right around the corner, we have something a little different planned for this one because it's a week after a pay-per-view.
Yeah. It's not going to be a title defense. It's going to be something else.
It's going to be the winner of that will get an advantage in the
Exactly.
next pay-per-view, which we'll get to.
Which will end up being Survivor Series. But yeah, so this is going to be interesting. And good luck to you, sir.
Good luck to
but
you
not
also.
too much luck.
Also, guys, like we've said before, if you got any questions, let us know in the comments. You got your own picks you want to throw in the comments, we'd be more than happy to take a look at them.
Absolutely. But,
and, yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week. I'm Nick the Iceman.
And I'm Danny Marvelous.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.